All right, let's talk about work. Every single day, you're surrounded by these, well, invisible forces, right? They shape everything, your motivation, your team's vibe, your success. We're talking about the hidden dynamics of how workplaces actually work. And in the next 5 minutes, we're going to make all that stuff visible. Let's pull back the curtain.
I mean, you've probably wondered this, right? Why you just click with some people at work and with others, not so much. Or why one team just feels electric and another one kind of fizzles out. Well, the answer isn't magic. It's actually a science. It's all about cracking the code that dictates how we all interact.
Okay, so let's start with Section 1, your workplace operating system. And I want you to really think about it like that. You, at work, have an operating system. It's made up of your personality, your beliefs, your attitudes. It's the fundamental code that's always running in the background, influencing literally every decision you make and every conversation you have.
So what is personality, really? The easiest way to think about it is like your personal factory settings. But here's the thing, it's not just one thing. It's this unique cocktail of your genetics, the environment you grew up in, and even the specific situation you find yourself in. And that combination is exactly what makes your approach to work completely and totally unique.
Okay, so quick gut check. Who do you think is really in control of your career? When you nail a project, is that all you? And when things go wrong, is it just bad luck or something totally out of your hands? Your answer here, well, it reveals a huge piece of your personal operating system.
So what you just answered points to something called your locus of control. If you have an internal locus, you're pretty sure you're the captain of your own ship. You make things happen. And that usually leads to higher motivation, right? Because you feel like your effort actually matters. Now, if you have an external locus, you tend to see things as being driven by fate, or luck, or other people. And look, neither one is right or wrong, but knowing your default setting, that's the key to understanding how you handle everything from feedback to major challenges.
And this idea of control and expectation, it leads us to one of the most powerful unwritten rules at work, the psychological contract. Think of it like an invisible handshake between you and your employer. You give them loyalty and hard work, and in return, you expect things like job security and fair treatment. As long as that deal feels balanced, trust is high. But the moment one side feels like the contract is broken, engagement just plummets. It's really that simple.
So, how do all these feelings and expectations actually turn into action? Well, it happens through what's called the ABC model of attitude. It's super simple. A is for affective, your feelings. I enjoy my job. C is for cognitive, your beliefs. My job is important. And those two things together drive B, your behavior. I'm going to work harder. It's this powerful little chain reaction that basically dictates how much effort you put in every single day.
All right, Section 2, what gets you motivated? If your personality the operating system, then motivation is the engine. It's the juice that gets you going, points you in the right direction, and, well, keeps you going when things get tough. So what actually fuels that engine?
When you break it down, theories on motivation pretty much fall into two big camps. You've got content theories, which focus on the what, like what specific things do people need. Then you have process theories, which focus on the how. How does the whole process of getting motivated actually work in our brains? And you need both to get the full picture.
Okay, check this out. This is a really cool idea from the what camp. Herzberg's theory basically says there are two different sets of things that work. First, you have hygiene factors. Think salary, work conditions. These things don't make you happy. They just prevent you from being unhappy. Getting a decent paycheck is just the baseline. What actually creates satisfaction, the good stuff, are the motivators. Things like achievement, recognition, and real responsibility. This is a total game changer, because it means you can't just fix what's broken. You have to actively build what's great.
Now, on the how side of things, there's Room's expectancy theory. And this is awesome. It's basically a formula for motivation. Your brain unconsciously runs through three questions. 1, if I put in the effort, will it lead to good performance? 2, if I perform well, will I actually get a reward? And 3, do I even care about that reward? If the answer to any of those is no, the whole chain just breaks. It's an amazing way to diagnose why you or your team might not be feeling.
All right, Section 3, seeing is not believing. And this is where things get really interesting. Because all these things we've talked about, personality, motivation, all of it, they're all filtered through our own unique lens. What really matters at work isn't some objective reality, it's your perception of reality.
See, our brain is constantly running this little three-step process in the background. First, we select what we even notice.
Then we organize that information into patterns that make sense to us. And finally, we interpret what it all means based on our own past experiences and values. And that is exactly why two people can sit in the exact same meeting and walk out with completely different ideas about what just happened.
And because our brains love a good shortcut, we fall into all sorts of traps, like this one, the halo effect. You see this all the time. Someone is an amazing presenter, so your brain just leaps to the conclusion, wow, they must be a brilliant strategic thinker too. We let one good quality create a halo over everything else. The only way to fight it is to actively look for evidence that challenges your first impression.
And then there's this one, which we're all familiar with, stereotyping. This is when we take one characteristic of a group, say quiet people, and then slap a lazy, usually wrong assumption onto an individual. Oh, she's quiet in meetings, so she must not have any good ideas. It's a mental shortcut that's not just unfair, it's incredibly damaging. It just shuts down potential completely.
So here's the really crucial part. These mental shortcuts, these perceptual errors, they are not harmless thoughts. They have real-world consequences. They affect who gets hired, who gets that promotion, and whose ideas even get listened to in the first place. Just recognizing our own biases is the first massive step toward making fairer and frankly smarter decisions.
So you've got all these different people, right? Each with their own operating system, their own motivations, their own way of seeing the world. So who's supposed to bring all of that together and steer the ship in the right direction? Well, that is the job of leadership.
And let's be clear, leadership is not just a title on a business card or a box on an org chart. It's a process. It's an action. It's about setting a clear direction and then influencing and inspiring people to move toward that goal together.
This managerial grid is a really useful way to think about it. Down in the bottom right, you have the task manager, all about results, not so much about people. They can burn out their teams. Top left, you've got the country club manager. Super nice, high concern for people, but maybe the work doesn't get done. The sweet spot, the absolute gold standard, is that top right corner, the team style. This is a leader who has a high concern for people and a high concern for production. They get amazing results by creating an environment where people can actually thrive.
Okay, Section 5, the new rules of work. Let's bring all this home. How does all this stuff, personality, motivation, leadership, apply to the way we're all working right now, in this crazy hybrid, remote, and in-office world?
I mean, the challenges today are totally unique, aren't they? How do you keep a company culture alive when half the team is remote? How do you make sure things are fair and that the person at home has the same shot as the person in the office? These are the huge questions that everyone, especially leaders, is trying to figure out right now.
And the answer isn't to throw out everything we know. It's about adapting these principles. In a hybrid world, you have to be crystal clear with goals. You have to build trust on purpose, because you can't just rely on running into people in the hallway. You have to focus on results, not just who's online. And maybe most importantly, you have to protect people's well-being. These are the new rules of the game.
So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? Here it is. Understanding how people tick at work is the ultimate tool. It doesn't matter if you're a manager or not. This knowledge is your superpower for improving performance, making your own job more satisfying, and just plain navigating your career more effectively. Look, we've just pulled back the curtain on the hidden code of your workplace. You now know the basics of what drives you, what drives your colleagues, and what really makes a leader effective. So, you know the code. The only question is, how are you going to rewrite your workplace?